Now I really like him. Yeah. But now he's just on the set, and follow the rule. Now he's great. First time I met him in William Morris' office, and he just keep talking. I just look at that guy. Why he keep talking?
Isn't it wild how some of those big names from our childhood seem to have just vanished from the spotlight? Like, remember Chris Tucker? He was everywhere in the 90s and early 2000s, cracking us up in movies like Friday and the Rush Hour series. But then it's like he just disappeared, and we were all left wondering, what happened to Chris Tucker? Well, it seems we might finally have an answer to that mystery. Apparently, there's talk going around that Chris Tucker might have been blacklisted from Hollywood. And get this, the source of the rumor is supposedly from none other than Jackie Chan himself. I mean, those two were practically inseparable on screen for years, so if anyone would know about Chris Tucker's situation, it would be Jackie, right? It's insane how Hollywood works sometimes. No matter how talented you are, they can just drop the blacklist bomb on you. So what's the deal with this whole blacklisting saga? Let's dive in. Now, the dynamic duo of Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in the Rush Hour flicks was pure magic, right? I mean, they just clicked, even though there were some language hurdles at first, and Jackie wasn't totally sold on the whole thing. But man, did they make it work. Their chemistry on and off screen was off the charts, and they've kept that friendship going strong ever since. Chris was actually the first one to jump on board the Rush Hour train. With his comedy chops and down-to-earth vibe, he was the perfect fit. And then there's Jackie. He wasn't exactly jumping for joy at first. I mean, he'd had some rough experiences with his previous American films, so he was understandably hesitant. But when the director personally jets off to South Africa just to convince you, well, how can you say no to that, right? Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker weren't exactly a match made in heaven when they first teamed up. Like, they were total opposites in how they acted and even their personalities. First off, Chris wasn't too thrilled with Jackie's English skills. I mean, let's face it, Jackie's English wasn't exactly top-notch back then, but Chris came to the rescue and helped him out with his English. And then there was the whole issue with Chris just loving to wing it and improvise lines on set. Jackie, on the other hand, was all about sticking to the script. So you can imagine there were some clashes there. At first, Jackie was probably like, what is this guy even saying? But after a while, Jackie started to get the hang of Chris's style.
Like my manager, Jackie, the movie is really good for you. I understand, And Chris Tucker, I just, Then after he left, after left, then I asked my manager, what the hell are you talking about?
The first part of Rush Hour was tedious in making, and even after the film was released, Chan was not happy. He had returned to Hong Kong at the time and awaited the premiere there. The film did rather poorly at the Asian box office. Chan complained to his manager, repenting the decision of having returned to the US film market. But then, a few days later, he received a call from the US agent who informed him of the record-breaking performance of the film at the worldwide and US box office. Rush Hour had accomplished for him what more than 3 decades of movies did not achieve: a solid footing with the US audience. Chan did not lose the important role that Tucker had played in his ascension, and in his book, Never Grow Up, he laid accolades on him. Energized by the success of the movie, he now moved back to the US and later revisited the role in 2 sequels in the franchise, both of which were successful. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker became friends and have maintained their relationship. So yeah, it totally makes sense that Jackie would be chiming in about Chris's supposed blacklisting. There are also whispers going around that Chris got the boot because he wanted to switch gears and tackle more grown-up roles. So back in 1995, Chris Tucker teamed up with Ice Cube for the iconic flick Friday. Where Tucker brought the house down as Smokey, one of his most legendary roles. But then, when the sequel, Next Friday, rolled around 5 years later, something was missing. Smokey was nowhere to be found. People were scratching their heads, wondering why such a big character was MIA. Turns out, after the first Friday blew up big time, Tucker was asked to jump back into Smokey's shoes for the sequel. But guess what? He passed. The guy who rocked the role that earned him an MTV Movie Award nomination for Best Breakthrough Performance decided to sit this one out. So why the heck would he do that? Well, Ice Cube spilled the beans during a chat on the Full Send podcast. Apparently, they were ready to throw a cool $12 million Tucker's way to get him back in the game. But old Chris had other plans. He said no thanks, citing religious reasons. He didn't want to be dropping F-bombs or puffing on the green stuff on camera anymore. You'll hear 1,000 different stories, but we wanted to pay him $12 million to do that movie, and he turned it down, Ice Cube shared. He said it was for religious reasons, he continued. He didn't want to cuss, and he didn't want to smoke weed on camera.
Really?
Yeah, he turned it down. Yeah, we wanted to pay him $12 million to do that movie.
He said it was for religious reasons. He didn't want to cuss and he didn't want to smoke weed on camera.
So, Chris Tucker finally decided to speak up about why he gave the cold shoulder to the Next Friday sequel. And let me tell you, it's not just a cut and dry religious thing, according to him. Apparently, Tucker wanted to switch gears and start snagging roles that had a more positive vibe. And yeah, his faith played a part in it, but it wasn't the only reason. See, when his little dude came into the picture, Tucker decided he wanted to clean up his act. Literally. He didn't want to be dropping swear words left and right, especially with his kid around. So he started shifting his focus towards projects that weren't all about the laughs. He said, "A lot of my not cussing started when I had a son. I heard my younger self on a tape cussing once and just felt like I had to do better. And then it got out that people said I wasn't cussing no more at all. They could believe whatever they want to believe, but it's only going to make me better if I could be funny without cussing every 2 words. Funny is funny. I never was a raunchy comic, but I didn't think about what I was saying because I was young. Being a Christian helps me in comedy. I have to talk about other stuff," Tucker explained. "Normally, most comics talk about easy stuff, maybe cussing or saying something raunchy. I have to dig deeper to find something that's still funny and not raunchy. It's harder. I like the challenge," he continued, saying, "Back then, I gotta tell you, one of the reasons why I didn't do the second one was because of the weed. I said, man, that movie became a phenomenon. I don't want everybody smoking weed. And I never really told people this because I kind of forgot about it. But it was one of the reasons why I didn't do it, because I said, I don't want to represent everybody smoking weed."
One of the reasons why I didn't do the second one because of the weed. Because I said, man, that movie became a phenomenon. I don't want everybody smoking weed. And I never really told people this because I kind of forgot about it.
Now, this is all totally fair, right? I mean, every actor out there wants to shake things up and show off their range. But here's where it gets messy. It seems like Hollywood had other plans for Tucker. Word on the street is they basically told him, no comedy, no roles. And after the Rush Hour buzz died down, it felt like Tucker just vanished into thin air. No movies and no TV appearances. Some fans think that because Tucker wanted to steer his career in a more mature direction, Hollywood decided to shove him into a corner. To add to the chaos, Tucker took a big hit in his net worth. Due to some bad moves, messed up paperwork, and debts he brushed aside, the Hollywood celeb saw millions slip away, dragging his overall wealth way down. When Rush Hour blew up big time, Tucker was sitting pretty with a jaw-dropping $20 million payday for the sequel. And that's not all. He snagged some sweet deals for Rush Hour 3 too, scoring a fat chunk of the box office earnings. We're talking over $60 million in contracts during his prime, with a cool $50 million just from the Rush Hour franchise. But then, things took a turn for the worse. See, Tucker ran into some serious money trouble, thanks to a mix of bad decisions and IRS trouble. Yeah, turns out he owed Uncle Sam a hefty sum in unpaid taxes, starting from way back in 2011. By 2014, that number had ballooned to a jaw-dropping $14 million. And if that wasn't enough, Tucker also found himself in hot water with some real estate deals gone sour. In fact, he straight up admitted in 2014 that he was struggling to make ends meet. In 2014, he managed to settle a hefty $2.5 million tax bill with the IRS, but his reps were quick to blame it on poor accounting and business management. But fast forward to November 2021, and it's like deja vu all over again. The IRS was back at Tucker's doorstep, this time demanding a whopping $9.6 million in back taxes. Luckily, even in the midst of all this financial chaos, Tucker still had a few assets he could cling on to, like his crib down in Georgia. But it's not all doom and gloom for Tucker. Word on the street is, his career is on the upswing again. After being MIA from the big screen for what felt like ages, he finally made his comeback in the sports drama Air, rubbing elbows with heavyweights like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And get this, he's even gearing up for the long-awaited Rush Hour 4, where he'll be sliding back into his role as Carter. And let's not forget about his comedy hustle. Tucker's been hitting the stage all across the US, spreading laughter and good vibes wherever he goes. As of 2023, his net worth looking a bit healthier at a cool $5 million. But let's be real here. Tucker's not the only celeb who's had to go through difficult times in the industry. Some of his peers have managed to bounce back just like him, while others haven't been so lucky. First up is Monique. Yeah, the Oscar-winning actress is supposedly one of those who didn't toe the line that Hollywood wanted. Monique spent over a decade calling out Lee Daniels, OPR Winfrey, and Tyler Perry, claiming they worked together to blackball her for not doing promotional press for the 2009 film Precious. The real kicked off when OPR and Tyler decided Monique should hit the press circuit for the film without any paycheck. Monique wasn't having it and straight up said, "Nah, not in my contract." According to Monique, she only got a measly $50K for the whole movie, which was barely enough. Now, they wanted her to jet around the world promoting the film for free, not on Monique's watch. But Oprah and Tyler didn't take her refusal well at all. Instead, they started trashing her reputation in the industry, spinning a narrative about her being difficult to work with. Monique spilled the tea, saying Tyler Perry told her, "You may want to consider promoting this film because if you get nominated for an Oscar, your next film is $3 to $5 million. And if you win it, your next film is $6 to $8 million. Monique was like, "Hold up, I'm a black woman. Where are they paying those salaries, brother?" She straight up told Tyler, "I can't work for free. I've done what I was supposed to do. I can't go overseas and do this for free." Their back and forth continued, with Tyler saying he doesn't believe in giving money away for free, and Monique firing back, "I don't believe in working for free. So we on the same page?" It's a classic case of clash in values, and Monique wasn't backing down.
He says, "Well, I don't believe in giving money away for free." I said, "I don't believe in working for free, so we're on the same page."
She also claimed Tyler Perry allegedly went the extra mile to mess with her acting gigs. According to Monique, it all went down after she turned down a request to fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival, tied to promoting the movie Precious. So, check it. The movie studio initially asked her to jet off to France, but Monique, with her busy schedule as a talk show host, comedian, and family woman, respectfully declined. They tried to sweeten the deal by offering to upgrade her hotel room, but she and her husband stuck to their guns, saying, "Nah, we're gonna spend this time with our family." When the third call came and they asked, "What's it gonna take to get Monique to France?" her husband straight up asked, "Is there a number associated with it?" That's when they dropped the bomb that they would never pay for anyone to do promotions for a movie. Monique revealed she was paid a mere $50,000 for Precious, and it wasn't about the money. She signed up to do it with her friend. The interviewer dug in, suggesting she needed the money to feed her family and pay bills. And Monique responded, "I think that's what America says. We all say, I can't do it for free." She explained that when the movie studio refused to pay for her Cannes appearance, they didn't make a fuss. But then the reports started flying, painting Monique as demanding and difficult. The whole thing boiled down to a simple request that they understood couldn't be met. But suddenly, Monique found herself labeled, and that's where the drama kicked in.
Because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friend. So when the movie studio says we can't set a precedent and pay you to do this, we didn't have an issue with them.
Okay.
But that's when the reports came that now Monique is being demanding and she's being difficult.
Monique's even called out OPR and Tyler Perry, asking for an apology that, as far as we know, is still MIA. All right, next up on the list, we've got Stacey Dash. You might remember her from the 90s classic Clueless, where she rocked the role of Dion. She was basically a household name back then. But hold on to your hats because her journey in Hollywood took some wild turns. After her early fame, Stacey decided to shake things up big time. Instead of sticking to the usual Hollywood script, she took a detour into the world of political commentary. Yep, you heard that right. The girl from Clueless turned into a political commentator. And let me tell you, it wasn't just a career shift. It was like dropping a bomb in the middle of Tinseltown. Stacey went all in with her conservative views, especially when it came to giving Barack Obama a piece of her mind and taking stances on hot-button social issues. Now, here's the kicker. Hollywood tends to lean left, but Stacey was out here swimming against the stream with her outspoken conservative beliefs. You can imagine the kind of storm that stirred up. Her appearances on news networks and social media rants turned into major talking points. I'm talking about heated debates, intense backlash, the whole shebang. In an industry where your personal beliefs can make or break you, Stacey Dash definitely didn't shy away from going against the grain. Her political stance didn't just put her on a different page, it practically put her at odds with a bunch of her peers and the whole Hollywood crew.
You know, we're Americans, period. That's it.
Are you saying there shouldn't be a Black History Month because there isn't a White History Month?
Exactly.
Next up is Jussie Smollett, and man, it's a roller coaster ride in Hollywood. You probably remember him from Empire, where he played Jamal Lyon. Groundbreaking stuff, really. Being an openly gay black dude on TV, he was getting major props for breaking barriers and his acting chops. But hold up, the plot takes a wild turn. In January 2019, Jussie reported being the victim of a hate crime in Chicago. Now, that made headlines real quick. At first, folks were rallying behind him, showing love and support. But then the whole story started looking fishy. Details started popping up suggesting that maybe, just maybe, he orchestrated the whole thing himself. And bam, the tide turned. Public opinion did a 180, and suddenly, Jussie went from victim to suspect. Media went nuts, and the dude faced some serious legal heat. We're talking a 16-count indictment for allegedly filing a false police report. The legal saga had more twists than a soap opera, charges dropped, then reinstated with a new indictment.
You are fined $25,000, which is the maximum fine. And you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail. And that will start today.
This whole mess not only put a dent in Jussie's personal rep, but also threw a massive question mark on his Hollywood future. Empire wrote him out of the final episodes, and his next moves in the industry became a big old question mark. Now let's talk Wesley Snipes, the dude who rocked the 90s with his roles in New Jack City, White Men Can't Jump, and that Blade trilogy. I mean, the guy's got range, charisma, and a unique vibe on screen. But hold on, his Hollywood journey hit a major speed bump. So picture this, early 2000s, and Wesley's in the middle of a high-profile tax evasion case. Legal battles ensued, and it wasn't some quick skirmish. We're talking lengthy and complex. The climax? Wesley got convicted for willfully dodging those federal income tax returns. In 2010, he kicked off a 3-year prison stint. Talk about a plot twist, right? His time behind bars marked a serious timeout from the acting scene and the public eye. Suddenly, the buzz wasn't about his performances, but about the legal drama overshadowing his career. It goes to show how fame can get shaky real quick, especially when off-screen stuff takes the spotlight. Fast forward to his release, and Wesley tried to get back in the game. He showed up in films like The Expendables 3 and Coming to America, a comeback attempt, no doubt. But let's be real, it wasn't the full-on return to glory he probably hoped for. Hollywood can be a tricky and Wesley Snipes learned that the hard way. All right, let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Will Smith. Now, we all know his Hollywood journey is like a blockbuster movie in itself. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in the 90s, absolute classic. Then he owned the big screen with Independence Day, Men in Black, you name it. Basically, the dude was on fire. But hold on to your seats because 2022 at the Academy Awards was a whole different plot twist. Picture this, live on TV, Will Smith goes full-on confrontation mode and slaps comedian Chris Rock on stage. Why? Well, Chris cracked a joke about Will's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Instant shockwaves and the whole world's jaws dropped.
Oh, wow! Wow! Will Smith just smacked.
The aftermath? Massive. Will faced a tidal wave of criticism for the slap, seen as uncool and a hit to his squeaky clean image. He even resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and got banned from their events for a solid decade. The guy who's been the poster child of positivity suddenly found himself in the middle of a controversy that had everyone questioning his judgment and professionalism. Fast forward, he said sorry to Chris Rock, and some folks think he'll bounce back just fine. I mean, it's Will Smith we're talking about. Next up is Isaiah Washington. You know him from Grey's Anatomy, playing the suave doctor Preston Burke, a role that put him on the map as a top-notch performer. But buckle up, because his Hollywood ride gets bumpy real quick. There's this incident that totally flips the script on Washington's career vibe. It all kicks off when he drops a not-so-cool homophobic slur on the Grey's Anatomy set. Suddenly, it's the talk of the town. Everyone's buzzing about it. And let me tell you, the industry, all gung-ho about inclusivity and being respectful, wasn't having it. They threw some serious shade at Washington, and the backlash was like a Hollywood storm.
In 2007, when you left Grey's Anatomy, there was so much conversation around your departure because you had allegedly made a homophobic comment about.
The aftermath hit, and Grey's Anatomy slams the door on renewing Washington's contract. This whole episode becomes a real-life soap opera highlighting the crazy dance between personal beliefs, public antics, and the gigs that make or break a career. Despite Washington owning up to his slip-up and giving a public apology, the incident becomes this looming cloud over his career. Fast forward post-Grey's Anatomy, and snagging roles of the same spotlight magnitude becomes a bit of a mission impossible for him. It's like the Hollywood gods decided to make him jump through hoops to reclaim his spot in the limelight. Next is Columbus Short, the guy who danced his way into our hearts and stomped the yard and it as Harrison Wright on Scandal. I mean, the dude had charisma for days, and we were all thinking he's on the fast track to Hollywood greatness. But hold up, here comes the plot twist. Life off screen for Columbus Short turned into a wild drama. Reports of domestic issues and a bit of a substance use situation started making headlines. Suddenly, his personal life was overshadowing his red carpet moment. In 2014, he dropped the bomb. He was bouncing from Scandal, a show that was not only a fan favorite, but also a critical and commercial hit. Leaving Scandal wasn't just saying goodbye to a steady paycheck. It was like waving farewell to a major platform that had him on Hollywood's radar. And you know how it goes. When the spotlight dims, it's tough to snag those sweet roles. Suddenly, the offers weren't pouring in like before, and his Hollywood presence started fading faster than last year's fashion trends. But don't hit pause just yet. Columbus Short, ever the comeback kid, decided to face the music. He took some time off to sort out his personal stuff and make a Hollywood comeback. Life's a journey, right? Let's see where Columbus's Hollywood story goes next.
It is bittersweet, man. That is exactly the way to call it. I think it's bittersweet. But I did love what I did on Scandal, you know what I mean?
Now, onto Darius McCrary, you know, the guy who brought Eddie Winslow to life on the classic sitcom Family Matters. Back in the 90s, he was all the rage, becoming a household name and securing his spot in American pop culture. But spoiler alert, life after Family Matters wasn't exactly a walk in the Hollywood park. So here's the deal. McCrary found himself in a bit of a typecasting maze. The whole Eddie Winslow thing was a blessing and a curse. While it made him a star, breaking out of that mold proved trickier than a Rubik's Cube. Casting directors and fans alike couldn't unsee him as the Winslow Kid, making it a challenge to land roles that showed off his full range. And you guessed it, this typecasting struggle is a classic Hollywood tale. Many actors grapple with breaking free from their iconic roles, and McCrary was no exception. Post Family Matters, he tried to mix things up, hopping into various TV and movie projects. But let's be real, none quite matched the Eddie Winslow fame. This whole journey shines a spotlight on a bigger issue, especially for those who hit the fame jackpot as kids. Navigating the transition to more grown-up roles is like trying to find your way out of a maze blindfolded. McCrary's story mirrors the challenges many actors face in evolving beyond their past characters. Fast forward to today, and McCrary's still in the game, taking on different roles and exploring other creative ventures. His resilience and dedication to his craft in the face of typecasting hurdles are like a Hollywood survival guide. So, props to Darius McCrary for keeping it real in the wild ride of Tinseltown. Well, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think of all this in the comment below, and we'll see you in the next video.